Hello, I'm Brett Douglas, author of the book American Drug Addict, Staring at Nothing, and a joke book no one thought was funny. Today I'm going to line edit the opening chapter of the novel A Story of Yesterday by Sergio Cobo. Before we get started, I'd like to say that this opening chapter is publicly available on Amazon. I'm going to critique that chapter. The author has not asked me to do this. What I'm going to provide is simply my opinion on the work and how I would have approached it if I had written it. So with that being said, let's get started. A Story of Yesterday, Chapter 1. The clock had just struck 11:20. I believe it was Thursday. My last memory was Tuesday night, and I did not used to die more than 2 days in a row. I thought the opening sentence was interesting. The clock had just struck 11:20. Clocks usually only strike on the hour or half hour, so this is something outside of normal experience. The last line is also interesting. I did not used to die more than 2 days in a row. The sentence itself presents an intriguing question. Who dies more than once? This person does. It is used to that I don't like. It doesn't read smoothly. I did not used to die. We can whittle that down to fewer words. I had never died more than 2 days in a row. There's two intriguing questions here. The clocks are striking at 11:20, and whoever this person is dies more than once. So far, so good. My presence, among other things, had turned the temple into one of the city's saddest bars today. I don't think you need the word today. My presence, among other things, had turned the temple into one of the city's saddest bars. Many of us who are here in our way were losers. I would say in our own way. I would just add own there. Many of us who are here in our own way were losers. I had decided to waste my time watching each of the ice in my glass melt. Each of the ice in my glass, that sounds terrible. We could cut that entirely. I had decided to waste my time watching the ice in my glass melt. Okay. When I woke up to the unison of a different voice than usual on a Thursday night after 11 o'clock. Now the word unison is here. Unison to me would mean that several voices were being spoken at the same time, and they were spoken in unison. But here it says unison of a different voice. So, I don't know, I'm not sure this is the correct word to use in this instance. But when I woke up to the unison of a different voice than usual, does this mean that the person heard a voice usually at this time, but now they're hearing a different voice at this time? And why were they hearing that voice at that particular time? Now, we've already established that this is Thursday night after 11 o'clock because the opening line said the clock had struck 11:20. I believe it was Thursday. So saying that it was on a Thursday night at after 11 o'clock is redundant. So we can cut that completely. I hadn't even heard the doorway noise. So there was a voice. The character was not paying attention to it because they were watching the ice melt in their glass. So the confusing thing about the sentence is they woke up to the unison of a different voice, but they hadn't heard the doorway noise. And so they heard this noise, but they didn't hear that noise. This sentence needs a rewrite. I think you could even combine this last sentence to it. As I watched the ice melt in my glass, I heard a voice. One I didn't recognize. "One beer, please," she replied. She being the person that walked through the door, I assume. The girl's cigarette released a shocking pink smoke reserved for the feminine genre. I looked at her for more than 20 minutes. That is a long time to stare at someone. For 20 minutes. I don't even want people I like staring at me for 20 minutes. Meanwhile, she finished 3 cigarettes As she was about to begin her fourth, she came to me and said, "Do you have a light?" "Yes, of course," I replied, startled. How was he startled? He'd been staring at her for 20 minutes. She lit the cigarette close to me. It was so long ago that one woman did. I guess he has a thing about having women light cigarettes next to him, and it had been a long time since that had happened. Thanks. I replied with a smile and dared to ask her, "Do you smoke that much every day?" The thing that bothers me about this is the colon. There should be a comma there, and then this line of dialogue right here should be right after this. I replied with a smile and dared to ask her is a tag, like he said or she said, except, it's a little longer and it's got an action attached to it. But I would say that that's a tag, and I would put a comma after her and then add this line of dialogue right after the comma. "Do you smoke that much every day?" She smiled at me. It was the best smile I'd ever seen in this place. So what does that mean? Does that mean that this is a place that no one smiles and she was the only one smiling? Or that everyone smiles, but above all of those smiles was her smile? It was the best smile ever. What is it telling us about the place, this place called the Temple, that they're currently in? I never quit smoking longer than 5 minutes at a time. "How about when you're asleep?" I asked. When I sleep, I'm not responsible for what I do." Why would he ask her if she smokes while she's sleeping? That's kind of dangerous, isn't it? We smiled together. Notice something here. We've got the word smile a lot right here. She smiled at me. And then right above that, I replied with a smile. And then we smiled together. Repeat words like this make the writing seem less elegant. It's kind of boring for the reader because the reader is encountering the same word over and over again. She wasn't a redhead or a blonde. She was both. She was a blonde-head? She shouldn't be more than 20. However, she behaved as a woman. She behaved like a woman, but in what manner did she behave? Did she walk like a woman, talk like a woman, smell like a woman, look like a woman? You don't go to these places often, do you? No, I don't like bars. I just go to them on special occasions. Now, this lady's a chain smoker, and I can't think of any public place you can go and chain smoke other than a bar. I had no idea what could be so special about a place like this after 11 o'clock on a Thursday night. We get it. It's Thursday night after 11 o'clock. This is the third time this has been stated. So let's cut this. Let's get that too. I didn't dare ask her. Since I started visiting the temple, I had started a new hobby of looking at the shoes of every woman I saw. That's not a hobby, that's a fetish. Today I had not done that. The way she smoked had absorbed me even more. What exactly about her smoking absorbed him? The way she held the cigarette, the way she blew the smoke, was she blowing smoke rings? Did the pink smoke smell like perfume? She took 3 coins out of her pocket. One fell, and I immediately bit down to pick it up. Now there was no way not to look at those pointy shoes. So she dropped a coin, and he got down on the floor to pick it up so he could get a close look at her shoes. All I can say is,
exorcise the demons.
"Thank you," she smiled. "Your shoes look great on you." He's digging them shoes, ain't he? The left one had a sky green color, understated by the low light of the place. The right one, on the other hand, her right shoe was on her hand? The right one, on the other hand, had a darker hue. Oh, I get it. You're the first to say so. I don't think so, I replied. So why does the main character think that this lady is lying, that no one has ever complimented her shoes? Has anyone ever complimented your shoes? No one's ever complimented mine. Of course, mine look like shit. She left an extremely generous tip, one of the best I'd ever seen here. Why is this person paying attention to what other people are tipping? He's probably over there looking at their shoes. We'll see each other again. She left the place, and I couldn't say a word. The few people who knew me called me Victor. I was born in a little town near Madrid, where I spent my childhood and adolescence. I began working as a sailor when I was about 17 years old. At the age of 31, I got married, and at the age of 40, I started to visit the temple systematically. These opening lines right here sound like exposition. Basically, it's just outright stating the story. Here's my name, here's where I live, here's what I've done in my life. You want to work these facts into the story, but don't make it sound like the reader is being spoon-fed the information. I never thought about killing myself after my wife died. It had to mean something to stay alive if I was still here. My big figure had been disguising a weight that had recently increased inversely proportional to my quality of life. Now, the last part of this sentence, increased inversely proportional to my quality of life, I actually like that line. I think that's a creative way to state that. My weight increased, the quality of my life decreased. But my big figure had been disguising a weight that had recently increased. The fact that someone is bigger isn't going to hide the fact that they're bigger. The last time I set foot on a scale, I weighed over 250 pounds. That was 2 months ago in the hospital when the cocaine did give me a new warning. I can tell you from personal experience that cocaine will make you lose weight. You'll be broke and in jail, but you'll be at your ideal weight. Although I was not more honest than wretched, I could never sleep well. Many mistakes doomed my consciousness each night and some parts of the day. So I think the opening paragraph had a lot of potential. The main character is in this place called the Temple. And a woman comes in and she's smoking a lot of cigarettes and she hints that they will see each other again and leaves. And then the protagonist introduces himself to the reader. I don't know what the main character wants, what it is they're pursuing. 3 things that an opening chapter should tell us as a reader. It should introduce us to the protagonist. It should hint at what it is the protagonist wants, and it should set the tone for the rest of the book. I think where this opening chapter falls short is we're not sure what the main character wants, and knowing that will make the opening chapter more compelling. Anyway, that's all I got today. If you have a chapter of a book that you would like me to line edit, or if you're brave enough and you want me to line edit your work, just send me a DM. I'm on X, Facebook, Instagram. Until next time.